Hello again, Fairhaven Town Administrator Keith Hickey with the latest edition of Town Report for the week ending November 21st, 2025. Hope everybody's gearing up for a nice long Thanksgiving weekend and spending time with friends and family. Talk about some good stuff going on in town before we get into the business. As we do every year, there's an annual Town Report photo submission contest for the Town Report cover for 2025. If you're interested in submitting photos, you can submit up to 2 per person. You need to submit those before January 7th to ahart, A-H-A-R-T, at fairhaven-ma.gov. The photos should be taken by the person submitting if they can. Obviously, we can't really control that too much, so we're asking for people to be honest about that, but if you're interested in submitting a photo to have it be on the front page of the Town Report, we'd love to have you do that. There's also a Discover Fairhaven Old Time Holiday Village on the 13th of December in historic Fairhaven Town Center, 40 Center Street. That activity will go on Saturday, the 13th of December, most of the afternoon. So please try to stop by when you can and enjoy festivities from Discover Fairhaven. And then the North Fairhaven Improvement Association is going to be holding their annual lighting of Benoit Square on Friday the 5th of December at 6:30 p.m. at the intersection of Main and Howland Streets in Fairhaven. Santa will be there if people want to stop and take a picture with Santa for either you or your kids. Love to have you do that. There'll be hot chocolate and Santa's elves also to help enjoy the fun. So thank you to Discover Fairhaven, and thank you to the North Fairhaven Improvement Association for those community events. Just to talk about what's gone on the last week or so, on the 19th of November, we had our fall town meeting. There were 7 different articles that town meeting representatives considered. All 7 articles last night were approved. The most discussed article last night was an amendment to the animal bylaw to increase the fees that the town of Fairhaven charges when animals are adopted. So right now we have a boarding fee of $25 a day. That was approved to increase to $50 a day. An adoption of a cat right now is $200. It was increased to $300, and a dog was $300, has been increased to $600. These fees have been in place now for well over 10 years. The rationale for the request was it's costing the town over the $300 and $600 for cats and dogs to treat them, bring them to the vet if they need to be neutered or spayed, to be able to do that. We can't release an animal to a new home without the animal being spayed and neutered. That's required by us. So what we're trying to do is just recoup more of the cost associated with holding these animals, not trying to make it less affordable for a person to be able to afford them, but we are caught in the middle between having every taxpayer support the animal shelter versus those who would like to use the animal shelter for adoption of animals. So some debate about that. There were a couple of amendments proposed to reduce the fees. Those failed, and the majority of the people last night approved the fees I just mentioned. Those are going to effect immediately. I want to thank everybody who was there, everybody who may have watched on TV. Appreciate your support. We'll continue to plug away and start preparing for the fiscal 27 budget. Hard to believe that'll come very quickly, but last night was, I think, pretty successful, and like I said, I appreciate everybody's time, not just for attending, but also we had a lot of employees who donated their time to be there and help out with processing people for coming into the town meeting. 24th of November, there is a select board meeting. There aren't a lot of topics on the agenda, but one of the topics that I'll talk about briefly will probably take a little bit of time. One is to consider a removal of a member of the Sustainability Committee. Susan Spooner has relocated and is no longer living in Fairhaven anymore, so there's a request to remove that member. The item that's going to be, I think, probably a little bit controversial and take a little bit of time to work through, I expect, an item on the agenda to consider conducting an investigation on the failure of the town of Fairhaven to act on the Timothy Hiller subdivision plans that resulted in a constructive approval. For those who may not be aware of the situation, and I don't think there are many, but if there are any, there was a set of plans submitted by a developer earlier this year. The town has a certain number of days to bring that plan forward to the planning board and have the planning board vote on a particular plan. I don't have all the details at this particular time. What I am confident in saying is the town of Fairhaven and the individuals responsible for processing that did not do their job. and did not present this development proposal to the planning board as required. What happens when it doesn't? The developer gets what they call a constructive approval. What that means is the developer has the ability to construct the subdivision as was presented on the plans, which is in the process of occurring. The developer was willing to meet with myself and their legal counsel and the town's legal counsel, and we were able to address some issues that were of concern when a previous plan similar to this one had not been approved. All of the issues, I believe, that caused the plan back a few years ago to be denied have been addressed. So the subdivision itself is ongoing. Obviously understand and sympathize with the residents and the abutters who live in the area who didn't have the opportunity to make their feelings known and have any concerns they had potentially be addressed by the planning board. And because of that, there's been a lot of discussion at both the planning board meeting, should there be some sort of an investigation done to identify specifically what occurred and why. And it's a policy decision the board will discuss and ultimately decide on. There have been processes put in place that would allow this, that should allow the chance of this happening to not occur in the future. Frankly, it's embarrassing to work in a community that didn't do the job they were supposed to have done and brought this forward to the planning board. So I certainly offer my apologies to the residents of the community, especially those who have been affected by this. Can't fix what's already occurred, but we are trying to put things in place to make sure that there's something like this that does not happen again. And we're looking to work to try to improve the trust that the community has in the employees of the town of Fairhaven moving forward. This is unacceptable. There's no excuse. And again, I apologize for what has occurred and can assure you that as long as I'm going to be here, this type of mistake won't occur again. So if you're interested in watching, it should be a spirited discussion to determine what the most appropriate process is in moving forward. But we are working to try to get it addressed as quickly as we can. So if you're fortunate enough not to be there, I hope everybody has a fantastic Thanksgiving. There will be a quick town report next week as well, early in the week, so I can let everybody know what the decision of the select board was as far as the investigation and whether there's going to be one or not, and give any updates at all on events that are occurring between next Tuesday and the following week after Thanksgiving. So thanks very much for watching. Have a great day.